Morning after morning, night after night, students are waking up with tremendous weights on their chests and going to bed with worries and instabilities awaiting them in the day ahead. Students of this generation face a daunting task of carrying the future of this nation. Time and again, the current politicians have failed to properly act to rebuild the educational system in this nation. The time to act to save education is now, not tomorrow. We demand that the nation see that an education with all its people is an act of national security, an insurance policy in its future. After all, it's our tax money paying for government and education. We should have a say in both. Lately, we have been seeing pointless states of states, states of cities, and states of unions that do nothing but sugarcoat the poison being fed to the public. But today, you're going to hear about what each and every one of you should already know, the state of the students. What is the state of the students? Students are in a drastic state. There are more students enrolled in public higher education than there have ever been before. That means students want to learn. We yearn to learn. So then why is funding getting lower and lower? Furthermore, as funding for education falls, tuition goes up. Since 1990, state aid for full-time students has decreased by 39.2%, while tuition has increased by 91.8%. As city and state aid to CUNY fell, tuition and fees paid by students has risen dramatically. As the Professional Staff Congress reports, 74% of funding for CUNY was provided by the state in 1990. Now, in 2012, the state provides merely 51% of CUNY funding, while the share from student tuition fees and other sources of revenue has more than doubled from 21% to 47%. That means that the burden of public higher education lies more heavily on the backs of students than it does on both the state and the city. How fair is this when the student population of CUNY is comprised of 74% of students of color? How fair is this when 47% of CUNY students juggle work and school, when 14% raise children, and when 44% of CUNY students are immigrants? When we look at the state of community colleges, things are even worse. Community colleges are at the brink of falling off a cliff. With the current lack of funding, it is being pushed off that cliff. As of right now, 42% of the cost to attend community college is funded by students themselves in the form of tuition, with a small percentage of fees and other revenues like private funding. While New York State barely covers a quarter of the total community college funding. For most students, this is not affordable by any means. The typical community college student differs dramatically from the typical student who starts at a four-year college. Most community college students need to work. Nearly all community college students need remedial college courses because public K-12 education has failed them. And almost no one in community colleges ever finishes in 2 years, or even 3. A January 2012 study by the Center for Urban Future reports that for every 10 students who entered CUNY Community College, 6 years later, 6 of those students dropped out. 1 still enrolled, 2 had earned an associate's degree, and only one